Hey everyone, EastPhilly here. Welcome to this video. Today we are going to be installing the T-Rex Racing Motorcycle Protection Kit on my 2016 Yamaha FZ-07. We have TikTok behind the camera. Let's get it started. There are 4 parts to this kit. We have axle sliders for the front and back. We have a spool span adapter that also doubles as a slider. We have an engine case protector, and we have a frame slider. What was I going to say? Just as a note, I bought all this stuff from T-Rex Racing directly. They did not send me any of this stuff for free, though I did ask them for some talking points for this video. And some of the things they wanted to get through is that they are anodized black aluminum pieces. All of the pucks are solid completely through. A lot of the frame sliders you get will have air pockets in them to help save weight, or they'll just be a tube type of design where it'll be hollow on the inside for you to put your bolts. So these mount directly to the frame, and then you have a solid puck. They said they are 12.9 screws. I don't know what that means. But besides that, everything is aircraft grade aluminum, and it seems to be pretty good quality when you hold it. It's nice. It's a little heavy, but that's not too bad. And the frame sliders will say FZ-07. They do have other models of bikes and makes. You can get it already color filled, or you can buy it like I have. You can color fill it yourself. If you do that, I'd recommend maybe getting the white lettering for when you color fill, so it looks a little bit better. The first part we're going to do is the rear axle sliders. The instructions that T-Rex Racing sends, to me, were a little confusing. They'll say left and right, but it's kind of hard to figure out which one they mean. So when I'm doing this, I'm going to say rider's right and rider's left, as if you were sitting on the bike. So the rear axle, you're going to first tighten the one spool adapter, or one of the axle adapters on here first. Put it in a little bit. That way when you push it through, you don't have to take anything out of the axle. It just goes right through. It won't go too far in, and you won't be able to get it out without putting the screw in. So you do that on that side first. Hold that down while you screw in from the other side. And you pretty much just finger tighten it until you get to a point where you can't do it anymore. Once you get to that point, you're either going to you have to use 2 Allen keys, or your Allen key and your torque wrench, because you are going to have to torque it to the right settings. They will strip pretty easily if you don't use the right torque settings. So you're going to hold down one side with an Allen key while you use your torque wrench on the other side. So you have your torque wrench set up. You're going to set it to 12 foot-pounds. You're going to use your 5mm Allen key and torque wrench. Same thing on the other side. When you're putting the puck sliders on the axles, they're just going to screw on. You got to make sure the one on the rider's right has a little spacer on the inside, and you're going to have to make sure that's on the right side, because the axle has a little space in it that's going to fit into nicely, and it's going to fit correctly. So get it on, start it, go counterclockwise first, just to make sure the threads get on right, because this is polycarbonate. So when you screw it on, you can strip the threads pretty easily. So you want to make sure you have it on right, and you don't wind up cross-threading it. Make sure you get it on pretty tight with your hand. If you want to, you can get like a strap wrench to make it tighter, but getting it on by hand is pretty easy too. And then once you get it on, you're going to take your Allen key. This one's a 3mm Allen key, and you're just going to tighten down the set screws. Rear axle is done. The front axle is going to be the same way. You start from the rider's right, slide it right through with one side already installed. Tighten the other side up with your hand. front pucks are both the same. So you just, again, counterclockwise to make sure the threads are on correctly, and then hand tighten it. And then the last bit, take your 3mm Allen wrench and tighten down that set screw. And your front axle's done. Next up, we're going to be putting on the spool adapter slash sliders. Since the FZ-07 does not come with spool threads, T-Rex Racing made these adapters that go onto the swing arm and give you a little ridge there for a spool stand. The spool adapter uses two different Allen keys. Top screw is going to use this 5mm Allen wrench, and the bottom is going to use a 5.5. They recommend doing the rider's left side first, because the right side you're going to have to do a little bit of work to get it on. And when you do this, you're going to see this little divot in the swing arm. That's about where you're going to want to put these, right in front of that. So make sure that the holes on this correspond with the holes on this. Put it right behind there. Hold it in place. I'm going to slightly screw in the top one just to hold everything in place. I'm going to take my Loctite. They recommend a strong Loctite. I only have a medium hold, but it should be fine. Set it to the right position. You don't want to tighten that all the way. Now you want to take that top screw back out. Once everything's hand tight, you're going to take your torque wrench. The bottom is going to be 12 foot-pounds of torque. When you change out, the top you're going to have to change to 8 foot-pounds of torque. Rider's left side spool stand is done. Rider's right side is going to be a little different. You're going to see this bracket is a little bit of an adapter. It's going to go to the side of it. And that's because you have to worry about the brake and all of this side getting in the way. So you're going to push this up from behind. Pretty much just going to slide right in there. And there's going to be a little divot within the rotor where it's going to fit pretty well. You can see that it's kind of locked in there. But again, we're going to take that top thread, I'm going to put it in here. I already have Loctite on it this time, so we don't have to do that extra step of taking it out again. And we're just going to get it set up to that right position. You're going to take your bottom bolt, put the puck on there, put some thread locker on that, and you're going to start it into the bottom. Once you get those both started threaded, you're going to position this again right at the edge of that divot in the swing arm. You're not really going to be able to push it over any further, so you're just going to hold it in place, tighten down the screws till they're pretty much hand tight and you can't really get them anymore with your hands, and then you're going to switch to the torque wrench. Again, on this side, the top is going to be on 8 pounds. So you just double check that. Always double check your torque settings because these can strip pretty easily. It's all aluminum based, and aluminum is a pretty soft metal. So you want to make sure everything is to the correct setting when you do this type of stuff. you're going to hear that click on the torque wrench, and that means you're at the right spot. Now I'm going to change it up to 12 pounds. And do the bottom at 12 foot-pounds of torque with the right head. Once you hear that click, that means you're at the right torque setting, and most spool adapters are now on. Next up, we're going to be doing the frame sliders. The frame sliders have two different setups. You have one that has shorter extensions and one that has longer extensions. The longer extensions go on the rider's right, the shorter extensions go on the rider's left. With that, you also have two different size long bolts. There'll be the same short bolts and the same short spacers. The rider's left will use the longer spacer, but the shorter of the long bolts. The long bolts will be using the 8mm Allen head, while the short bolts are using a 10mm Allen head. To start this, you're going to have to take out the bolt from the engine mount and an Allen key from over here. When you take out the actual bolt, you're going to be replacing it with that longer, the shorter of the long screws with an Allen head. So you get that in there. This is an 18mm bolt. So once you take that bolt out, you're going to want to get your short screw, put some thread locker on it, put your spacer into the frame, and just screw that in a little bit. You just want to have it enough that you have something holding the engine up still while you take out the other bolt. On the back here, you're going to be taking out this 8mm Allen head. On the back, you're going to be using the shorter of the long screws and the longer of the long spacers. You're going to set everything up pretty nice. The end of the spacer is flared. You want that connected to the bike. Kind of get it finger tight for now until you get everything set up and in the right position. Both of these, you're going to be setting your torque wrench to 40 foot-pounds. Again, you're going to have your 10mm closer to the front wheel and your 8mm closer to the back wheel. A little slow, and you're going to listen for that click from your torque wrench. Just like that. And you do the same for the back one. Again, once it feels snug, start listening for that click. And your left rider side frame slider is on. One of the reasons I like this kit is a lot of frame sliders are just kind of like a pole shape. So it comes out sort of like these, and you just bolt it in right into that one engine mount. I didn't like those because a lot of people say for frame sliders, if the bike goes down and starts sliding, that slider can catch on a crack or something, and it could wind up doing more damage by stripping the bolt, twisting the frame. These ones, since they're a full puck and it's actually solid, have less chance of grabbing in the center, and its curved type of shape means that while it's sliding, your engine guard is probably going to wind up getting hit before the edge of this does, and you have a lot less chance of it grabbing and flipping the bike over while sliding. Again, on this side, you're going to be taking out the 17mm bolt from the engine mount.
insert the inappropriate, oh yeah, finger that hole. Happy Valentine's Day.
There we go. So for this front one, you're going to use your short spacer and your short screw again. Put some Loctite on there. Make sure it's facing the right way. You'll know because it'll say FZ-07 and it won't be upside down. Put it through. Get it started. And then we'll go to the Allen key on the back. You're going to take your 8mm Allen key and you're going to remove the stock bolt from the engine mount. Now you want to take the shorter of the long spacers and the longer of the long screws and use that together on this back one. Again, you want to use the flared part of the spacer against the frame of the bike. And then you can tighten that down by hand. This one's a little bit longer of a bolt, so it takes a little bit longer to screw in. But once you get it hand tightened, you're going to get your torque wrench and you're going to go to work with that. Double check that it's set up to 40 foot-pounds of torque. Mine has changed because it wasn't tight right. So on 40, it's always good to double check that. And you're going to start tightening the bolts. Again, this back one is an 8mm Allen. The front is a 10mm Allen. Now listen for that click, and that'll let you know you're at the right torque setting. Switch to your 10mm Allen head and start doing the front. Snug again, listen for that click. And you're done the right rider side frame slider. Really read the directions on that. Next up, we're going to be doing the engine case protectors. These parts are going to replace the bolts and cover the engine so that if you fall, the engine doesn't get messed up. You can see that T-Rex actually went and created divots and slides to actually fit around the case and make it snug so that it doesn't have a space in there to break or anything. All the screws are going to be this 5mm Allen head. You're going to have to take them all out first, and then we're going to have to go through on the different sizes of replacement screws. So if you really need to, you're going to figure out which screws you have to take. On the rider's right side, there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws you're going to have to take out and replace. So for these, you're going to want to loosen them all up first. And then you're going to want to try to do it kind of quick, because when you take these out, it is going to make the engine case a little loose, and you're probably going to get a little bit of oil drip. So I decided to do this right before I'm getting my oil changed anyway. Before I put everything on, I'll pretty much show you the pattern. So this is the rider's right side. It's going to be 70, 70, 50, 60, and 70. None of them really have their actual numbers on there, but when you lay them out, you're going to see a size difference pretty easily. And on each of these, they come with a washer. Put the washer on the screw. Put some of your Loctite on. And then you're going to be putting it on this. This has built-in spacers before it goes into the frame. Now that all the screws are out, I'm going to start replacing them with cut cover on there. Again, you don't want to tighten them all up too much right away. You kind of want to get them hand tight so that you get all the screws torqued down evenly. Again, just a reminder, put your washer on the screw, and then put some thread locker on the threads before you put it onto the pipe. As we finish up this right side, the paperwork does say on the left side that you're going to be using all 65mm screws, but they didn't actually send me 65mm, they sent me all 70s. So that's just what you're going to have to use if that's what they send you. Other YouTubers that have done this also use 70s. But now we get up to the torque. Torque for these screws are all 8 foot-pounds. So you have to be very careful with this. When you get to the higher ones, there's a little leeway. On these smaller foot-pounds, you really got to make sure everything is set up correctly. You want to do all these just about till they're snug, and then you want to do each one up to that snugness point before you really do the final torque down. Now we're going to get started on the rider's left side engine case cover. This one, it's only going to be on the bottom 3, so you're going to have to get a little dirty on this one, get down on the ground. The bottom 3 bolts, one of them's kind of hidden over here, but you're just going to take those out. Like I said before, kind of just loosen them. This side is going to be where most of your oil is, because that's where that goes. So you're probably going to get a little bit of dripping because you're actually loosening the bottom bolt level. You see some oil leaking out there. So I'm going to try to do this pretty quick because that's leaking a lot. And it's most likely because the bike's leaning to this side. And it's not like up on a... If I had the spool stand with me, that would have been a bit easier to handle. So I'm going to put that screw in first. And just doing a couple turns on that stops the oil flow. Make sure you got your washer on there and a hand tighten for a little while. Again, on this side, you're going to be using your 5mm hex head, and you're going to be torquing these all down to 8 foot-pounds. Again, make sure you're at 8 foot-pounds, make sure your torque wrench is tight, and go at it. When you get to that snug point, go slow and listen for the click. It's kind of harder to hear at the lower foot-pounds, but I am getting that click, and do that with every bolt. Once that final bolt is tightened, you're now done the rider's left side engine case cover. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, give it a like. If you disliked it, give it a dislike. And if you did dislike it, that's okay. But please let us know in the comments why, so we can make our channels better for both you and us. Hope everyone has a great week and a great weekend, and I'll see you all next time.